Oh, I think they're. I think that they're. They're one of uh, three or four teams that are really fun young teams to watch right now. Them and Indianapolis, Oklahoma City, Sacramento, and the Pacers are all really interesting. You know, teams that have a lot of rookies and second and third year guys that are really playing well together. I mean, Oklahoma City has so much young talent. It is just fun to watch them play. Lindy is there and playing well, and one of our players is in the Sacramento system on a two-way deal with Stockton in the G League, Chance Comanche, and he's having a great year in the G League, so we think he's going to go up pretty soon. And the Xavier Moon is on a two-way deal with the Clippers. So yeah, we've got a lot of our guys we're watching closely, and Lindy's the one guy that's up full time right now. That's fun to watch. They just got a lot of young guys that are buying in. The coach is doing a great job getting them to make the extra pass, and they shoot a lot of threes because they get a lot of wide open threes, and I mean, Chet's the leading candidate for Rookie of the Year over Wemby, and Wemby is a generational talent, but Chet's not far away. So the two of them could have, if they both stay healthy, they could have a really fun, long rivalry because they're both really interesting, game-changing players. I mean, he had a year to get stronger. Watch. The thing I liked about the year he took off, he was always on their bench. He wasn't. A lot of times when these kids are gone, like the when Zion would get hurt, Zion would disappear a lot from New Orleans, and they're saying he's training in Portland or he's training, in Carolina or whatever. But he wasn't around the team. Chet was around the team the whole year, so he was getting bigger and stronger and really understanding what it looks like to be a pro. And he is a consummate pro. He's done a great job. He was great before the FIBA World Cup. I mean, he is, he's a Canadian that is from Toronto. He plays with another Canadian with Lowell Dort on his team. And there's just, we sleep on how many great Canadians are in the NBA right now with Jamal Murray and the big kid from Utah that's used to play for Miami, the big white kid from Gonzaga. And there's just so many wonderful Canadians, Andrew Wiggins, that are having impactful years. And Shea is what's fun to watch about him is he's is there his emotions are always in check. He plays like a pro, he carries himself like a pro, he makes the right decision more often than not. I mean, he's fun to watch. And obviously I watch Oklahoma City a lot because of Lindy, and I'm just like, wow, this kid Shea is tough. Yeah, he's not necessarily as under control. But the thing that I like about Dillon is he has a level of intensity. I know him a little bit from when he was in high school, and he was wanting to fight people in high school. He's just a tough kid. He comes from a family of really tough guys. He's got a first cousin named Gentry Thomas that's playing around the world that went to Cal State Riverside. He was in our program in Orangeville at one point, and Gentry has dog like that. It just those kids that originally came from Halifax, and he ended up being raised in Toronto, but they're all really tough guys, and it has nothing fake about Dillon. He's a little bit of a showman, but that's real. He's willing to mix it up, and he's not afraid of anybody. And he's had a pretty good impact on the league, I think, because he's different, and some don't like his act, but I kind of respect him that he plays hard every game. No, I think they, I think they may have should have let Ja go. I mean, when you got a really good young team and they won't gel at the end and they shoot themselves in the foot like these guys are doing, you got to make some major changes to get everybody's attention. If not, you're going to stay with them and they're going to be, someone that never fully evolved. I mean, look at how much better Houston's been with a couple of tweaks and a new coach. They've become a contender all of a sudden as far as to make the playoffs. And last year, they were one of the worst teams in the league. Well, I mean, I think a lot of people are like, well, his antics get old and this and that, but he's a 6'6" undersized power forward that's redefined the game by being able to be a skilled enough point forward to bring the ball up and make the extra pass. But everything he is about is disrupting and backing his team up. So while I don't know if choking out the big kid makes sense, I do think that he is he's yeah, if Golden State turns it around, he'll have to be a big part of that. And they're not far away. Everybody talks about how bad Golden State is, but they're losing games by 2, 3, 4. They're they're a few breaks away from Andrew Wiggins playing a little bit better and Clay toning it up some, and CP3 keep getting better to being making a run for the playoffs. And I got to tell you, I don't want to play them in the playoffs because they still got a lot of juice that can score. Yeah, I mean, I think that people forget that Monty went to New Orleans and they were awful, and he made them playoff contenders and did a great job with them. Um, you got to be patient. They've got a lot of losing in their muscle memory over the last few years. They're 7-50 the last since the end of last year to this year. So when you realize that, as good of a coach as Monty is, it's going to take hard. They probably need to make some tough decisions and make a couple of changes, and it's going to take some time. But again, if given the time, I'm convinced Monty will turn that program around because he's a high quality human being, and people like that make a big difference. In all seriousness, Brian, what happens when you start to lose like that? Two things happen. You become concerned for your own numbers because if we're not going to win, at least let me get good numbers to help my contract. And you start to not believe in your teammates. And you start thinking, well, I'll take this shot before that guy has a chance to miss it or turn it over or make a mistake. So there's things that kind of appear, some are selfish, some are unselfish, but they're still selfish because you don't believe in each other. And there's a lot of dynamics that go on with that. And we experienced that in Cleveland when I played in Cleveland because they made the mistake of everybody had performances in their contracts that if I led the league in assists, then I got more money. Well, that guy won't even shoot a layup. He'd rather let somebody else shoot it so he can make more money. Or if I lead the league in threes and you don't shoot layups, you'd rather shoot threes. And if I lead the league in rebounds, well, I'll steal rebounds from somebody. Well, all incentives should be based on the team's wins. And I don't know what the contract's like in Detroit, but for us in Cleveland, that was one of the mistakes was there were too many individual incentive laden contracts that made it tough. So, yeah, I'm sure they're going through a lot of difficulties, but I'm pretty confident Monty's a pretty long-term deal. So, if given the proper time, he'll do just fine. At first, I was concerned for Milwaukee with Lillard only because not that Lillard's not great. Man, Drew Holiday is a generationally tough kid. I think he's helped Boston a lot. So I think that I was concerned at first, but Dame's not slowing down. He's still scoring big buckets, and that's going to prove to be probably one of those, Halliburton Sabonis trades that both teams win on. Uh, the Harden one's tough for me because he had a great game, but he's been there 9 or 10 games and he's finally had a great game. So I think the jury's out on James. And again, it's way out on whether they'll ever win with him because he's never really gotten that deep in the playoffs. So I don't know if that, I don't really understand that one. But, I think sometimes you just go, let's get the best available. And that's probably what the Clippers did. And Ty Lue's pretty good with the people and probably figure out how to make them all work together. But it's going to take a while, I think. I think 100% has to do with the way he finishes the season. I mean, if he finishes the season hurt, or he finishes the season where he's just not contributing, and they're pointing to him, he's going to be one of those. He's going to age out like Allen Iverson aged out, where people didn't really want to fool with him at the end of the career. Uh, and he may end up in China or someplace making a lot of money. But I think if he helps them get to the playoffs and he's a key piece of a successful run, then he'll have some value and there'll be a lot of interest in him because he will have proven he can age. I mean, again, you look at guys in their what LeBron's doing right now is unheard of. I mean, he's averaging 25 in the 19th year of his career or whatever it is unheard of. And no one's ever been able to age that well before, except for Michael towards the end. And you go, there's not a lot of guys that do that. I mean, Akeem Olajuwon was a great player at the end of his career. He was only averaging a few points. And, a lot of these guys that stay on a long time, they're under double figures by the time they're a little older. And James was on the court a lot in Houston. I mean, he got the ball a lot. He played a lot of minutes. So it looks like he's had a lot of fun in life. So I don't know what kind of conditioning he's always kept himself in. And that'll age your body too. So the jury's out. If he has a great close of the year and they have a great team, he'll be back in the NBA at the right place. If not, he'll be looking for a place to keep his career going. You know what? We've got a new big kid that's 6'11", 7 foot. That's been from the big three that played in the NBA named Dante Green, who's a Syracuse kid. You never know. He could be someone that somebody goes, God, I know he was still able to play at this level. We've got a lot of really good guards that are in our league that are they're a great breakout from having a chance. A guy named Chuck Guy is a nice guard, and Deshaun Munson both play at Potawatomi, and a really athletic, strong guard named Shadell Millinghouse. That's tough with the Albany Patroons, and there's a lot of. We have a 6'9" kid named Lyle Hexum that can flat out shoot it with our new Frederick team, the Frederick Flying Cows. And then in our BSL, there's just a ton of talent up there. The new league that we have in Canada, that are just. It'll be interesting to see what happens with there. There's a guard named AJ Mosby that can really run the point up in Sudbury. That's very good. There's just a lot of great players in Canada that we're gonna get a chance to enjoy this year. Yeah, I mean, World Be Free was was a lot of fun. Great guy, could really score. Um, he was. You think somebody that changes their name to World Be Free has a insatiable ego, and he didn't. He was always kind to me, even though I wasn't much of a player as far as in the rotation. He knew I liked to play a lot, so after practice he'd stay around and play one-on-ones. And the world was good to know. Scotty's still one of my best friends. Scotty could really shoot the ball. I mean, he just could shoot it, and he was strong and great player from Colorado that went to the Kansas City Kings and then the Cavs, and then he really had a great ending of his career with the Celtics. I think one game he hit 8 or 9 threes in the first half of an NBA Finals game or something like that. And, proved he still had a lot of game, but when you're backing up Larry Bird, you're not going to get a lot of minutes because Larry doesn't want anybody taking any of his time. So, but Scotty I still see Scotty every year when I go back to Kansas City. He lives on a beautiful lake in Kansas City, and he's just a humble, really good friend. I'm fortunate to have Scotty in my life.